2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to Today. Brought to you by Boss Shot Shells. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
I tell you what, in a couple of years, we might look back on this day. We might could do a whole segment around this day in history.
Today?
You don't hear that shit outside?
Well, we're in the middle of a big windstorm. We're doing this on Friday.
Historic wind gush, Jeff. That's the whole premise of this series is historic. We're living in history today.
They had a 130 mile an hour wind gust west of us, about 100 miles, which is absolutely never heard of nothing.
Biblical,
Yep.
Some would even say.
Dry land hurricane.
Some would, yeah.
Without the wind, without the rain. Okay. My today is on March 14th, which is today, because you're going to be listening to it today. And my person that was born on March 14th is the father of the nuclear warhead.
Oppenheimer?
No, Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was born March 14th in 1879.
I don't think we give him much credit for the nuke.
Well, he's had a lot to do with it.
Some of his theories?
His theories, theory of relativity, his mass energy equivalence. He started working on this when he was in Germany. And he got word through the president or the king of Belgium he was friends with. He got kicked out. Germany started in the 30s rounding up all the Jewish scientists.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a Jewish scientist. And he had left and he decided that he was never going back to Germany. And he lived in a lot of different countries. He lived in England. But he got a letter back to the President of the United States.
Before we continue, do you know what the theory of relativity is?
No, I do not.
You don't?
No, I don't have a clue.
Oh.
So tell me, what is it?
It is the theory that the faster you go to the speed of light, the slower time moves.
There you go. Absolutely did not know that. And guess what?
That's like, so the theory is if twins are born, okay, you send one, you have one stay here on Earth, and you send one in a rocket ship that travels near the speed of light. When they return, however many years later, and you factor in the equation, the one on Earth will be much older than the kid that was in the rocket ship by like decades, or depending on how long they're gone, the twin might not be here.
Has this been proven?
It's a theory, Jeff.
It's theory. Okay, well, there you go. I did see that the senator from Arizona, Tony, what's a Democratic senator from Arizona? The astronaut. Tony may not be in there. Anyways, that guy's got a twin brother, and he was in space for a long time. And when he came back, he's got a, what are they called when their twins are exactly alike, identical twins. And 7% of his genetics were different when he came back from space.
Huh.
I just read that this morning.
You probably never watched Interstellar, but that's
I did watch Interstellar, and it's the stupidest show ever. But I couldn't turn it off.
But that's the thing, is like when he gets back, his daughter, I don't even know if it's his daughter. It might even be his grandchild.
No, it's his daughter, but she's like really old at the time.
That's the theory of relativity.
It's a very depressing movie.
Yes.
Very, very depressing movie. But yeah, Payne had me watch it with him. He was all, he's into all that weird shit. So anyways, Einstein got a letter back to the President of the United States and said, hey, the Germans and Hitler are working on this nuclear bomb, atomic bomb. He didn't want any part of it. He didn't want anything to do with it at all. And a lot of his teachings is what helped spur that. And he spurred on the Manhattan Project because of his involvement with getting a hold of the president. He also he had taught in the 30s. He'd went to the California Institute of Technology and worked a little bit. I mean, he was a very big celebrity at the time. But he got a lot of those when he left Germany, he was so well thought of by all these other countries, and he helped get the scientists outside of Germany to leave. They got them to leave. The Jewish scientists, they got all of those out of the country. In 1939, a group of Hungarian scientists that included Leo Szilard attempted to alert Washington to ongoing Nazi atomic bomb research. The group warnings were discounted. Einstein and Szilard, I'm sure I'm saying that's wrong, along with other refugees such as Edward Tiller and Eugene Wigner, regarded as their responsibility to alert Americans the possibility that German scientists might win the race to build an atomic bomb, and to warn that Hitler would be more than willing to resort to such a weapon. To make certain the U.S. was aware of the danger, in July 1939, a few months before the beginning of World War II, Schlesinger-Wigner visited Einstein to explain the possibility of atomic bombs, which Einstein, a pacifist, said he never considered. He was asked to lend his support by writing a letter to President Roosevelt recommending the U.S. pay attention and engage its own nuclear weapons. That was the beginning of the Manhattan Project. For Einstein, war was a disease, and he called for resistance to war. On his deathbed, after all the things he did, I can tell you another thing that he did. He was really big on the NAACP. He was a member of it. He taught at Princeton, but he campaigned for the civil rights of Americans. He went to a college. There was Lincoln University was in Pennsylvania. It was a historically black college. It was the first college to grant college degrees to African Americans. It's where Thurgood Marshall went. Einstein gave a speech about racism in America and said, I understand racism because I've had racism against me my entire life as a Jew living in Germany. Anyways, on his deathbed, he was a liberal. He hated war and stuff. He said the only regret he ever had in life was that he attributed to the two bombs they dropped on Japan. But he said, if I would not have done that, then the Germans would have had it, and there's no telling what kind of havoc they would have caused on the world. Mm-hmm. So he said he understand that. He also died of internal bleeding. He had a ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysm, which had been previously reinforced by surgery. He took the draft of his speech the day before he died. He said that I want to go when I want. It is tasteless to prolong life artificially. I've done my share. It is time to go. And he died the next morning. So good for him.
Willed it into existence.
Yep. Now, my thing that happened on this day was Jack Ruby was sentenced to the murder of Lee Harvey Oswald on live TV. It was the first court appearance, a court in 1964, the first time they'd ever done a court verdict on TV live. Mm-hmm. And they did his on him, and he was sentenced to death. Mm-hmm. And that was my event that took place in history. There wasn't a lot went on this day, so that was it, is the live reading of the verdict. Now. And
that guy had already scrambled his brains by this time.
Who?
The guy that ran the MK Ultra, Jolly West.
Oh, on Jack Ruby's?
Yes.
Well, he had cancer anyways. It didn't matter. It was all a setup deal.
Well, Jolly West scrambled his eggs.
Now.
He couldn't testify.
Right. Now, my person that died today is a gentleman that you've never heard of.
Probably not.
Named C.V. Wood.
You are correct.
Okay. C.V. Wood was an American developer of theme parks and planned communities. He was the chief developer of Disneyland. His name was Cornelius Vanderbilt Wood, and he was born in Winoka, Oklahoma, which I've chased tornadoes and been by there a long time. Moved to Amarillo, Texas, and he graduated and attended Hardin-Simmons University in Abilene, where my wife graduated. And he was a champion trick roper for the school's cowboy marching band. Wood's employment began in 1941 and included 9 years at Corvair. It was a place that used to make cars, which was Consolidated Aircraft and Vultee Aircraft, an American aircraft manufacturing company that later expanded into rockets and spacecraft. He became a chief industrial engineer and contributed to innovations of the manufacturers of aircraft. Wood was employed by the Stanford Research Institute during the early 50s when he first met Walt Disney. Wood was tapped to lead the team that had been assembled to crunch the numbers and find a location for the theme park that would become Disneyland, located in Menlo Park, California. SRI, Stanford Research Institute, was a nonprofit research and development organization founded by the trustees of Stanford. So anyways, he went to work for this SRI, and he became friends with Walt and Roy Disney. And he helped put down the groundwork to start Disneyland. Well, Walt and Roy had a real problem. Walt and Roy did not like Mr. Wood becoming part of the celebrity that goes with this. And he was becoming well known as the man who designed and started Disneyland.
Right.
And in a lot of ways, he was. Well, at first they loved him, treated him like a son, but over time the relationship became strained. The Disneys sometimes were uncomfortable around Wood, or more specifically with some of his sales and other tactics he employed to build Disneyland. Walt Disney was also raised a number of issues that involved Wood, including the man he hired was receiving too much credit for Disneyland. Within a year after Disneyland opened, Wood and the Disneys parted ways. Roy Disney was really the one that didn't want to, that wanted to get rid of him. His relationship had gotten so bad, and this is what's funny is, if you worked for Disney and you helped design and build it, they have all kinds of executives that work there, and they have window signs designating them as proprietors of fictional businesses along Main Street. So if you went in the clock shop, they might have Andy Shaver proprietor, but they put a name for famous people. He's nowhere on any Main Street deal. That's how bad their deal. Well, when he left that, he went to work for Marco Engineering. They designed all kinds of theme parks. He designed Magic Mountain. He designed Pleasure Island in Massachusetts, Freedom Land, USA, the current site of Co-op City, and now this is in New York. He worked on the initial Six Flags Over Texas before another guy took over his spot. But so when he left there, Wood merged Marco Engineering, which was his company, with the McCulloch Motors Corporation, which had been sponsor of Freedom Land. The owner, Mr. Robert Paxton McCulloch, had purchased Lake Havasu in Arizona. Do you know much about Lake Havasu?
No.
They built a big, like, retirement type community there and created the Lake Havasu community with Wood as the planner. He planned this whole community that's still there at Lake Havasu. They also found out that the availability of the London Bridge was for sale. 130-year-old bridge in London. They bought it, had it completely taken apart, and they stuck it up, and the London Bridge is now in Lake Havasu, Arizona.
I did not know
and
that.
He was instrumental in that. He did a lot of big time retirement communities, kind of what he was, and he was assistant at Lorimar Telepictures and helped merge the company with Time Warner. He didn't work for Warner Brothers for a long time, and then he died, went away. But he was a very interesting guy. He died of lung cancer. He was married to an actress, Jo Andrew, but a kid from Little Winoka, Oklahoma, named C.V. Wood is my person who died today. And I thought it was a pretty interesting story, the deal with Disneyland. I didn't know anybody. I just thought that was a Disney deal. Never thought of it, but it's a bad blood there. But anyways, that's my today for March 14th, 2025. But we're going to go back in some time. So it's Albert Einstein was born. Jack Ruby had to lie of his courtroom about him being guilty of killing Lee Harvey Oswald. And if you're living under a rock, that's the man who supposedly shot John F. Kennedy. And then C.V. Wood is who died on this day.
And on a different topic, I just saw yesterday, I believe it was, some of the declassified stuff. JFK, right before he died, was he was pressuring the CIA to release all the UFO files. I think I can find it. Let me remember what I pinned it on.
The UFO,
since we're talking about,
we're fighting the UFO files every day now.
In a way,
you know that.
What was it on? Maybe it was on TikTok. Hang on. Give me 1 second. Give me 2 steps. Yes, memo reveals JFK probed CIA to release UFO files 10 days before his assassination. It was on TikTok. So it's got to be true. Classification review of all UFO intelligence. I would like you to arrange a program of data sharing with NASA where unknowns are a factor. And that was given 10 days before his assassination. So he was pushing. He was pushing. Might have got him killed. We'll never know. That and probably a list of other things. But anyway, that's today. Love you. Bye.